Hello, my name is Chad Varney and I'm an application engineer here at Ally PLM Solutions. I'd like to welcome you to another session of NX CAM Lunch Bytes. Today we're going to look at what's new in NX10 CAM. We have several of you on the line with us today, so you'll be in listen-only mode for this session. If you have any questions after this session, you can email those to me at chad.varney@allyplm.com. I would remind you that we have all of our Lunch Bytes replays available on our website, and you can check those out at www.allyplm.com. We also have a section on there where you can give us your future Lunch Bytes topics. So today we're going to talk about the new improvements available in NX10. You'll see that there's a wide range of new enhancements added to NX CAM. Hopefully you'll find these new features and enhancements will make you a faster, more efficient programmer. So our agenda for the day is we're going to look at 3-axis milling enhancements, toolpath display and editing improvements. After that we'll look at 5-axis milling enhancements, and then we'll also take a look at some prismatic machining enhancements. One thing I want to point out is that these enhancements that we're discussing today were actually available in some later releases of NX9. Alright, the first one that we're going to look at is the automatic option in cavity mill. This is found in cutting parameters and pattern direction. So let's take a look. As you can see here, I've got a cavity mill operation, and I'm going to go into cutting parameters, and if you notice I have the cut direction set to climb cut, and then previously we only had inward and outward options. Well, now you can see we have an automatic option. So right now I have this set to inward, and we'll take a look at this and verify, and we'll step this through, and notice it starts on the outside of the part and works its way inward, maintaining a climb cut direction. If I go into the replay mode, I want to show you that once it gets up near a wall of the part, and we'll step this through, notice it's actually conventional cutting on there. Okay, that's because we've told it to work its way inward. Okay, so we're actually not able to maintain a full climb cut direction against the part. So the other option that we have is we could do an outward option. Okay, so I'll go ahead and regenerate that with the outward option, and as you can see here, it will not approach outside since we've told it to work its way outward. So notice we have all of these extra ramp moves that's actually really unneeded when we have an open area like this. So we're going to use the new option now. We're going to set the cut pattern to automatic, and I'll go ahead and generate that. So what we'll notice is it does approach from the outside and works its way in, but if I go into verify, and now we look at the toolpath along, let's say this wall that we looked at earlier, and I'll step it through. Notice we are climb cutting the part as well. So we're maintaining a climb cut on the material and also climb cutting the walls. So again, the automatic option combines inward and outward and maintains the cutting condition, conventional cut or climb cut, depending on what you pick. So we'll take a look at this in 3D Dynamic and see how it actually does allow the tool to approach from the outside. So it approaches from the outside and then does a cut towards the middle and then starts working its way outward. Again, combining inward and outward cut directions. Alright, the next enhancement we're going to talk about is smooth corners in flow cut. Smooth corners isn't new, but smooth corners inside of flow cut is new. This is found in cutting parameters corners. So we'll take a look at that one as well. I have this first flow cut operation, and if I zoom in on this here, you can see that we have just the normal flow cut operation without smoothing, and you can kind of see in the corners here that the tool comes straight in and straight back out in the corners, kind of a sharp angle there, not the desired cutting condition for, let's say, high-speed machining. Alright, so let's go into this operation. I'm going to go to cutting parameters, and notice we have the corners tab, and then we have the smoothing option. Again, smoothing isn't new, it's just new inside of the flow cut operation. So I'm going to turn this to smoothing on all passes and regenerate this operation. And now we see that it did the smoothing in the cutting move. So you can see that this is a nice smooth toolpath instead of going straight in and straight out of the corner with a kind of a sharp angle. So much better cutting condition, especially if you're doing high-speed machining. Alright, the next one we're going to talk about is boundary regions in flow cut. Similar to the last enhancement we talked about, boundary regions isn't new. Boundary regions was available in area contour in NX9. However, in NX10, boundary regions is available in flow cut. This is found in drive method, output, and then we're going to use the user defined option. So we'll take a look at this as well. So I'm going to look at the second flow cut operation that we have. And once I go into the operation, I'm going to go to the drive method settings. And notice the cut order is set to automatic. This means NX is determining the cut order. It's also determining the cut regions based on the steep containment. I'm going to change this to user defined, and now I'm going to generate the operation, and what we'll see is the new cut regions dialog will come up. So now we see the new cut regions dialog. This has a lot of information in it. We can toggle through each one of these in the dialog, or we can actually click on a certain region out in the graphics window. So for example, this gives us an easy way to, let's say, delete a region. Okay, for example, this first region over here is deleted. Maybe I want to delete this region and this region out of this toolpath. I just simply hit the delete button. Again, pick this out in the graphics window and use the delete button. One of the other things that we can do from this cut regions dialog is we can combine regions. So for example, I'm going to pick this region, this vertical cut region here, and I'm going to go into merge and tell it that I want to merge it with this cut region. So for example, if I wanted to cut all of these together, I can combine those. And then also what we can do is, let's say for example I wanted to change the cut type. I could change it from a steep to maybe a non-steep cut type. Alright, so again, you know, the new cut regions dialog can be pretty useful when you're doing flow cut. Alright, and we're going to take a look at a couple of the new display options. This is found in the ribbon menu. So we're going to go back up to this first flow cut operation that we had, and what we see here is if you're trying to look at this toolpath, sometimes it's hard to actually see the cutting moves. Sometimes the non-cutting moves get in the way of actually looking at the toolpath itself. Well, right here under display in the ribbon menu, we can turn off and on the non-cutting moves. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just turn off the non-cutting moves, and then this gives us a lot better view of our actual cutting moves. And then of course we can do that the opposite way as well, turning off the cutting moves and just looking at the non-cutting moves if we want. And the next option that I want to point out in this for the display enhancements is the toolpath display. In this part I have three different toolpaths that are finishing this part. So I have a Z-level profile, and I'm just going to hold the control button and turn on the first contour area. Alright, so we see that this is a contour area up on the top of the part, and then I'm also going to turn on the contour area that does the inside of the part. So I want to display these so that I can see and make sure that my part is completely cut. However, they're displayed all in the same color, so it's kind of hard to determine which toolpath goes to which operation. Well, we now have the option to change the display color by operation. So what this does is it displays each operation in a different color. So you can see the Z-level profile in green, the first contour area is displayed in yellow, and then the second contour area is displayed in purple. So you can display multiple toolpaths in multiple colors. This also has the option to display toolpaths in different colors based on the tool, based on the different tool for each different operation. So definitely a nice enhancement there. And one of the other enhancements that we have now is that we can trim in view. Right, and this is found when you right click on the toolpath itself. You could do an edit and then trim, and you can trim it in a view. So we'll take a look at that as well. I'm going to use this Z-level profile to show this, and I'm going to turn off the non-cutting moves so we can kind of see things a little easier. And just as an example, maybe I wanted to trim off this area of the toolpath. Of course, we can do that in different ways by using cut regions and things like that, but this does provide kind of a little shortcut to trimming toolpaths. So we're going to right click on the operation itself, and we're going to go to toolpath and edit, and I'm going to go to trim. Alright, we've always been able to trim in plane and some of the other options here, but what we're going to do is use section in view. Okay, so no matter how this is rotated, I'm going to actually be able to trim the toolpath in whatever view, however view I'm actually rotated. So for example, I'm going to trim this off. I'm going to limit this. I'm going to trim the inside, and I'm just going to simply draw a rectangle and hit OK. And we notice that we trimmed this area off. Now if you want a little bit more detail, what I can do is I can go back into trim, use section in view, and I could use the lasso as well. So I could actually trim these a little bit closer to that edge. So now you see the toolpath trimmed right to that edge. So again, any view that you're in, you can trim toolpaths. So that's definitely something that's pretty useful. Alright, the next one is in 5-axis machining, and it's in turbo machinery when we're doing swarf cutting. Okay, we're going to set our tool axis to swarf cut, and what you'll see is it provides a more accurate operation. Okay, so I have a blade finish operation here, and again notice that our tool axis is set to swarf blade, and I can go into those settings. Notice we have the collision check option now, and then what this operation does now, the new enhancement, is that it provides a much more accurate tool path, and you'll see that in the verification here. So notice on the swarf cut, as I cut around here, that the flute of the tool will do a true swarf cut operation. In previous versions, the tool may have a tendency to stay away from the part, but now this is maintaining a nice, smooth swarf cut operation with the tool directly on the blade. Right, so this aligns the tool more accurately to a ruled blade surface. This also supports a bull nose mill and then also end mills as well. And we also have the option to if, for example, if this was a shorter tool, we could do step downs as well. We could go into the cut levels and do multiple step downs with the same result of a nice, smooth, accurate swarf finish. And the next enhancement we'll look at is the 5-axis variable contour settings. All right, we're going to look at the curve point drive method, and we're going to look in the settings of there and take a look at some of the enhancements or different options that we have there. Alright, so what I want to do on this part is just finish this this cylindrical face on the outside of this part. So I'm going to create an operation. I'm going to go to the mill multi-axis type, and I'm going to use a variable contour. I've got a 20 millimeter ball cutter, or I'm sorry, a 20 millimeter end mill. And what we'll notice in here, first of all, I'm going to specify the cut area as that cylindrical face. And then I'm going to use the drive method, curve and point. So inside of the curve point drive method dialog, what I can do is I can actually select the edge of the cylindrical face, and then I can offset that. So I'm going to offset that by half the cutter. In previous releases, we would have to actually have that curve in the geometry and actually pick that curve where it would basically be offset 10 millimeters from here. So now we can just offset it right here in the dialog. We notice the cut direction is going around this way. That's what we want in this case, and I'll be able to generate that operation. Take a look at that in replay mode. So again, if I needed to maybe leave a little bit of extra stock or something on that, on this face here, we could do that right inside the dialog as well, but just by offsetting a different number. And then one more thing I want to point out here is we'll go back into replay, and I want to point out the tool contact point. Okay, notice the tool contact point is right on the center of the tool, which may not give the best cutting condition, being right on the center of the tool. So we have one more option inside of that dialog, is we can shift the tool contact point. So I'm going to do tool contact shift, and in this case I'm just going to go 5 millimeters. And then I'm going to generate that, and then we'll notice in replay mode, notice the new contact point is 5 millimeters away from center. Okay, so that's going to give us a lot better cutting condition instead of being right on the center. Alright, and moving on to the prismatic enhancements, the enhancements for prismatic parts. The first one is chamfer hole milling operation. We have a new operation called chamfer hole milling, and this allows you to chamfer a variety of sizes of holes and depths of chamfers, all with one operation. You can see the picture there. The hole sizes vary, and then also the chamfer size varies as well. Well, with this operation you can do those all within the same operation. Next is in feature-based machining. We have some optimization options in feature-based machining, and we can now group through holes and blind holes all together, so they can be in the same group, which can reduce tool changes and machine motion. So blind holes and through holes can be grouped together if they're the same diameter. Then we also have another optimization option to where we can optimize hole sequencing to make a faster and more efficient toolpath. And you can see some of the options there. And then the last prismatic enhancement that we're going to talk about is roughing non-standard holes with drilling. This allows you to choose model depth when drilling a non-cylindrical hole. So for example, on the picture you see here, it's a tapered hole. It's not a standard cylindrical shape, so it's a tapered hole. But we can use model depth, and it will drill this hole as deep as it possibly can. So let's say that top diameter is maybe 10 millimeters diameter, and the bottom is maybe 6 millimeter diameter. Let's say we're using maybe somewhere in between there an 8 millimeter cutter, an 8 millimeter drill. It will drill as deep as it possibly can without gouging into the part or drilling too deep. So that's a nice way to be able to rough out tapered holes or odd shaped holes. Well, that's all the time that we have for this session of NX CAM Lunch Bytes. I hope you were able to get a better idea of some of the new features in NX10, and hopefully you learned some things that will make you more productive. If you have any questions about today's Lunch Bytes session, please email those to me at chad.varney@allyplm.com. I also want to encourage you to go to our website at www.allyplm.com and check out our current NX training options. We have a wide variety of options for NX training for NX CAM and NX CAD as well. Our training classes are taught here in our Cincinnati, Ohio location, or online, or on-site at your facility. I also want to encourage you to join our 2 upcoming sessions of What's New in NX10 CAD Lunch Bytes. And those will be on April 16th and May 21st. You can register for those on our website at www.allyplm.com. Again, I want to thank you for joining us. Hope you have a great day.